Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Sunday, October 21st, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's Game 7 of the NLCS between the Dodgers and the Brewers, go over all the college football scores from last night, and some thoughts along the way. NBA and NHL scores, look ahead to today's action, and I'll predict the rankings as they come out this afternoon at around 2 o'clock. So the Dodgers, they're off to the World Series for the second straight year with the 5-1 win over the Milwaukee Brewers. Ryan Madsen gets the win. Julius Chassin with the loss. Bottom of the first, home run. Christian Yelich gets Milwaukee on the board. That turned out to be their lone run. Top of the second, the go-ahead home run. Cody Bellinger, 2-1 Dodgers. Top of the sixth, 3-run shot. Yasiel Puig, 5-1 Dodgers. Your final. Welker Buehler pitched well, 4 2/3, 6 hits, an earned run, no walks and 7 strikeouts. Clayton Kershaw actually closed the game. In the ninth inning, had 2 strikeouts. Kenley Jansen pitched an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts. Ryan Madsen, an inning and 2/3, a hit, 2 strikeouts. Julio Urias only faced 1 batter. Julius Chassin started from Milwaukee. He regressed. 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and no strikeouts. Then they went to the pen. Josh Hader was phenomenal. 3 innings, a hit, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. I think Craig Counsell did the right thing by bringing him in early. Xavier Cedeno gave up a hit, and then he gets pulled for Jeremy Jeffries, who goes an inning and a third. He gave up 3 hits. He gave up the home run, the Yasiel Puig that put the game away. He gave up a walk and struck out 2. Corey Nebel, 2/3 of an inning and a strikeout. Brandon Woodruff closed the game. 2 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. So Fox, I'm sure, is very thrilled with Dodgers Red Sox after missing out on Dodgers Yankees a year ago. College football. Going to go through all yesterday's games. Arkansas defeated Tulsa 23-0. I picked Tulsa to win this game outright. That was a mistake. Arkansas is 2-6. Tulsa's 1-6. Auburn defeated Ole Miss 31-16. Bounce back win for Auburn. They're 5-3, and so is Ole Miss. If only Ole Miss wasn't on bowl probation, then they'd be a little bit more interesting to me. Well, they still are a little interesting, but if they weren't on bowl probation, then they would have been more talked about among surprises, in my opinion. Number 23, Wisconsin defeated Illinois 49-20. Wisconsin's 5-2, and Illinois is 3-4. Northwestern defeated Rutgers 18-15. Northwestern's 4-3. Rutgers is 1-7. Number 19, Iowa defeated Maryland 23-0. Iowa's just really good. They're 6-1. Maryland's 4-3. Number 6, Michigan defeated number 24, Michigan State 21-7. The Wolverines are improved. They're 7-1. Michigan State's 4-3. Sparty's defense kept them hanging around, but they couldn't do anything against Michigan's defense. Number 9, Oklahoma defeats TCU 52-27. Oklahoma's 6-1. TCU's 3-4. Army defeats Miami of Ohio 31-30 in double overtime. Army is 5-2. Miami of Ohio is 3-5. Temple defeats number 20 Cincinnati 24-17 in overtime. This is a fun game. Temple is 5-3. Cincinnati suffers their first loss and drops to 6-1. Buffalo defeats Toledo 31-17. I had Toledo. I was wrong. Buffalo 7-1. Toledo 3-4. Syracuse defeats UNC 40-37 in double overtime. Syracuse is 5-2. UNC is 1-5. Virginia upsets Duke 28-14. Impressive win for Bronco Mendenhall's team. They're 5-2, and so is Duke. Liberty defeats Idaho State 48-41. Liberty's 4-3. Idaho State's 4-3. Idaho State's FCS now. Ohio defeats Bowling Green 49-14. Ohio 4-3. Bowling Green 1-7. Marshall defeats FAU 31-7. Good win for Marshall. They're 5-2. The Lane Train is 3-4. So regression from them from last year. Utah State defeats Wyoming 24-16. Utah State 6-1. Wyoming is 2-6. Middle Tennessee defeats Charlotte 21-13. Middle Tennessee is 4-3. Charlotte is 3-4. Eastern Michigan defeats Ball State 42-20. Eastern Michigan's 4-4. Ball is 3-5. Western Michigan defeats Central Michigan 35-10. Western 6-2. Central is 1-7. Number 1 Alabama defeats Tennessee 58-21. Alabama 8-0. Tennessee 3-4. Number 15 Washington defeats Colorado 27-13. Washington 6-2. Colorado 5-2. Texas Tech defeats Kansas 48-16. Tech is 5-2. Kansas is 2-5. Number 18 Penn State defeats Indiana 33-28. Indiana gets the cover. 5-2 is Penn State. Now Indiana's 4-4. Number 3 Clemson defeats NC State 41-7. Impressive win for Clemson. They're 7-0. NC State's 5-1. Florida State defeats Wake Forest 38-17. FSU is 4-3. Wake's 3-4. Nebraska defeats Minnesota 53-28. Nebraska 1-6 finally gets their first win under Scott Frost. Minnesota's 3-4. Coastal Carolina defeats UMass 24-13. Coastal's 4-3. UMass is 2-6. I don't know how UMass was a favorite in that game. Louisiana Tech defeats UTEP 31-24. Louisiana Tech's 5-2. UTEP's 0-7. Houston defeats Navy 49-36. So Houston gets the cover. Houston 6-1. Navy 2-5. SMU defeats Tulane 27-23. SMU's 3-4. Tulane is 2-5. Akron defeats Kent State 24-23 in overtime. Akron's 3-3. Kent State's 1-7. Appalachian State defeats Louisiana 27-17. App State's 5-1. UL Lafayette is 3-4. Missouri defeats Memphis 65-33. Impressive win for Missouri. They're 4-3. Memphis is 4-4. Cal defeats Oregon State 49-7. Impressive win for Cal. They're 4-3. Oregon State's 1-6. Georgia Southern defeats New Mexico State 48-31. Georgia State 6-1. New Mexico State 2-6. Number 5 LSU defeats number 22 Mississippi State 19-3. LSU 7-1. Mississippi State's 4-3. Southern Miss defeats UTSA 27-17. So these bad teams and the CUSA are hanging around with the better teams. Southern Miss is 3-3. UTSA is 3-5. Number 10 UCF defeats ECU 37-10. UCF 7-0. ECU 2-5. Number 21 USF defeats UConn 38-30. Give UConn credit for hanging around. Makes USF look like a very weak 7-0. UConn drops to 1-6. UL Monroe defeats Texas State 20-14. UL Monroe 4-4. Texas State 1-6. Number 14 Kentucky defeats Vanderbilt 14-7. UK is 6-1. Vandy 3-5. Number 25 Washington State defeats number 12 Oregon 34-20. Impressive win from Wazoo. They're 6-1. Oregon's 5-2. In what was the most impressive performance of the night, Purdue defeats number 2 Ohio State 49-20. Purdue's 4-3. Ohio State is 5-1. Gotta be impressed with what Purdue did. This was a great win for them. And let's face it, Tyler Trent, a student at that school that's currently battling cancer, was in attendance for the game. He had to drop out of school to take care of his treatment. He goes to the game. They win. I feel like that win for Purdue was meant to be for Tyler Trent in all ways. And everyone's going to be talking about Ohio State getting blown out. But maybe if they're playing somebody else, they win. Obviously, if they play better, they win too. But I just think this was meant to be for Purdue. That's all. FIU defeated Rice 36-17. FIU is 5-2. Rice is 1-7. UAB defeats North Texas 29-21. UAB 6-1. North Texas 6-2. Impressive win for UAB. Old Dominion defeats Western Kentucky 37-34. Old Dominion 2-6. Western Kentucky 1-6. These are two of the worst teams in CUSA other than Rice and UTEP. Fresno State defeats New Mexico 38-7. Impressive win for Fresno State. They're 6-1. New Mexico's 3-4. Utah defeats USC 41-28, and everybody's going to be calling for Clay Helton's job now. As USC drops to 4-3, Utah is now 5-2. UCLA defeats Arizona 31-30. UCLA is 2-5. Arizona is 3-5. San Diego State defeats San Jose State 16-13. San Diego State 6-1. San Jose State 0-7. San Diego State, I guess, was looking ahead. Nevada defeats Hawaii 40-22. Impressive win for Nevada. They're 4-4. Hawaii is 6-3. I'm going to go through some NFL games today and what I'm looking forward to. Right now on CBS is a game from London, the Titans and the Chargers. The Titans just scored a touchdown to get within 4. A 1-yard run by Derrick Henry. The rest of the scoring, Titans open up the field goal by Ryan Suckup. They make it 3-0. Chargers go ahead 7-0 on a touchdown. 75 yards from Phillip Rivers to Terrell Williams. Terrell Williams has been a breakout player this year. Mike Bagley field goal 10-3. Second quarter, Ryan Suckup field goal 10-6. Third quarter, it's been wild so far. 55 yards from Phillip Rivers to Mike Williams, 17-6. And then the Henry run to make it 13-17. 1 o'clock games today, the Browns and the Buccaneers. The Browns trying to bounce back after the ugly loss to the Chargers. See how they look. I think their offense will bounce back. Tampa Bay, same thing. They're looking to bounce back after that tough loss to the Falcons. The Panthers and the Eagles, I think, is the best 1 o'clock game on the card. Two NFC contenders, in my opinion. The Panthers really haven't looked like a contender. They arguably should have lost to the Giants at home. Although they came back and nearly beat the Redskins, though. They had a chance, but their comeback came short. Their slow start cost them that game. I think they have a chance in this game, but the Eagles seem like they got their mojo back, but I could be wrong. The Vikings and the Jets. This could be a trap game for the Vikings with the Saints losing on Sunday Night Football next week in what it should be an awesome game. And a rematch of the best playoff game of last season, which Stephon Diggs had the crazy 66-yard touchdown to win that game. So we'll save that for next week, but the Vikings trying to get through this week. Kirk Cousins has been Jekyll and Hyde. That's pretty much what the Redskins are, not the Vikings, but that's why Kirk Cousins was so perfect for the Redskins, and same with Alex Smith, by the way. But we'll talk about the Redskins in a little bit. But yeah, Adam Thielen has been perhaps the best receiver in the league this year. He'll torch the Jets secondary, who I think, if the Jets want to hang around this thing, should make a move for a corner that's available at the trade deadline. And then, speaking of the Jets, they have to be proud of themselves for being 3-3 after being 1-3. You got to take advantage of your schedule. Sometimes they did that with the Broncos and the Colts. Now, their toughest test, perhaps this season, comes today against the Vikings. This is certainly the best team they've seen so far. The Jets, I'm talking about. The Lions and the Dolphins. I don't get why Detroit's a favorite in this game. They don't deserve to be road favorites against anybody other than maybe like the Giants or the Raiders or the Cardinals, but they shouldn't be favored in this game. It's disrespectful to the 4-2 Dolphins. And you can see the Lions looking ahead a little bit here. Absolutely. Like Matt Stafford will put up his numbers, but I don't trust that defense, and their rush defense is one of the worst in football. I expect Kenyon Drake to have a huge game for Miami as long as Brock Osweiler doesn't wet the bed. The Patriots and the Bears is another great game on the slate, but it doesn't have the sex appeal as it did maybe 48 hours ago because Rob Gronkowski isn't playing and Khalil Mack isn't 100%, so this could be a typical Patriots win. You have the Bills and the Colts. Derek Anderson's getting the start for Buffalo, and the Colts are trying to get their second win of the year. They're 1-5. They're probably the best 1-5 team in the league. But that's saying something because they don't have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the football. Maybe I'm saying that because of how good Andrew Luck's looked since coming back. Texans and the Jaguars, this is a big game. The winner of this game will be in first place in the AFC South. Jaguars have been atrocious the last 2 weeks, in particular Blake Bortles. That defense hasn't done them any favors either. I feel like there's some bad karma with Jalen Ramsey trash talking as part of it why they're 3-3. Because I really do think karma is a bitch and it ultimately comes back to bite you. And meanwhile for Houston, if they were to pull this off, that'd be fantastic after starting 0-3 and a loss. They had that loss to the Giants that dropped in the 0-3, and the Giants looked like one of the 3 worst teams in football, along with the Raiders and the Cardinals. 4 o'clock games, the Saints and the Ravens. This is a great game. This is the best of the 4 o'clock slate, although Cowboys-Redskins is the biggest game, but Saints-Ravens is the best game. You have 2 of the best teams in the league, one from each conference. These 2 teams don't meet up very often. I'm interested to see how the Saints look on the road, outdoors, because don't forget, they let the Giants hang around with them for a majority of that game, and then they end up pulling away late on that long touchdown run by Alvin Kamara. That Raven defense is good, so I wouldn't be shocked if the Saints don't score up a lot of points. I actually do think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and the Ravens will actually outscore the Saints, because I still don't trust the Saints defense, although it's been improved the last couple weeks in that Giants game, but I think that was sort of more about the Giants, or I thought that at the time, and then they do what they did to the Redskins, then I feel a little like that what I said about more about the Giants may not be true at all. The Saints defense might just be improving. But we'll know today. We'll know today. Especially with them on the road. It's a big test for Drew Brees and company. Cowboys-Redskins. Dallas is a surprising favorite in this game. I think Vegas is overreacting to their dominant win over the Jaguars, although Washington opened as a favorite. I think Washington is the right side in this game, as I said on Friday's podcast. Although I could see why Dallas has the minus by them, and it's because they seem to always win in D.C. But this is a different year. The Cowboys' offense stinks on the road, and they're a much better team in their own building than they are on the road. They were terrible in Seattle. They weren't terrible defensively in Houston. Their defense kept them in that game. Their offense just stunk in that game. And then, obviously, their offense stunk in the Carolina game, and their defense kept them in the Carolina game. So, it should be interesting with the Cowboys today. And, obviously, Washington with the win here put them in first place in the NFC East. I should know the winner of this game is going to be in first place in the NFC East, regardless of what the Eagles do. Although if the Eagles win and the Cowboys win, then they'll be tied. And the Rams and the 49ers. Is this another trap game for the Rams? This is their 3rd straight on the road. And they're 2nd in 3 weeks against a division opponent. Will the 49ers get up for this, or will they have a letdown after what was a nice performance on national TV against the Green Bay Packers. I won't be surprised if Beathard has another nice game because the Rams are missing players on defense still. And the Rams' defense has been vulnerable this season, to be honest. I don't know if anybody's noticed, and I think the injuries have a big part to do with it, but remember in week 1, their defense wasn't all that great against the Raiders, although it got better as the game went on. Their defense obviously shut down the Cardinals because the Cardinals are the worst team in the league. And then their defense let up some points against the Chargers, although the Chargers are a good team. Seattle's not a great team. They scored against them. And then, obviously, the Broncos are not a great team. Put up some yards and points against them, too. So, we'll see with the Rams' defense. It's a little bit of a test. And maybe the 49ers aren't as bad as I thought without Jimmy Garoppolo. That's another thing. And then tonight is the Bengals and the Chiefs. This is the game that got flexed into this spot instead of Rams 49ers. Rams 49ers was the original game in this spot. They took it off because of Jimmy Garoppolo's injury. And I love Kansas City in this spot. Andy Dalton has a bad history in road primetime games, as we all know. He tends to wet the bed in these spots. I think he'll probably do that. Meanwhile, Kansas City needs to rebound after that heartbreaking loss against the Patriots. We'll talk more about Giants-Falcons on tomorrow's podcast. NBA. The Raptors defeated the Wizards 117-113. Kawhi Leonard did not play in this game. The Raps are 3-0. Washington is 0-2. Kyle Lowry led the way for Toronto, 28 points and 12 assists. 10 for 21 shooting. Serge Ibaka off the bench in this game, 16 points, 9 rebounds. Bradley Beal, 32 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists in 35 minutes. John Wall, 25 minutes, 4 rebounds, 6 assists in 34 minutes, 7 for 16 shooting. The Pacers defeated the Nets 132-112. A little bit of a letdown game for Brooklyn as they dropped to 1-2 after their win over the Knicks. Indiana's 2-1. A game that you had to have if you were Indiana. You got to take care of your inferior opponents. Victor Oladipo, 33 minutes with 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Karis LeVert, a little bit of a drop-off from yesterday. From a point standpoint, he only had 19 points in 28 minutes, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Spencer Dinwiddie off the bench, 13 points, a rebound and 4 assists. D'Angelo Russell had a good statistical game, but a poor shooting game. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 of 16 shooting in 31 minutes. The 76ers defeated the Magic 116-115. 76ers probably didn't take Orlando for granted. Philly's 2-1, Orlando's 1-2. But give Orlando credit for hanging around. Joel Embiid was a monster again. 32 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists on 13 of 26 shooting in 34 minutes. J.J. Redick off the bench. 31 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on 10 for 20 shooting. 8 for 13 from 3 in 32 minutes. Markelle Fultz, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists on 4 and 11 shooting in 23 minutes. Evan Fournier carried the Magic, 31 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 12 for 23 shooting, 6 for 10 from 3 in 34 minutes. Nick Vucevic, 27 points, 13 rebounds, and 12 assists, so a triple-double for him. 10 for 15 shooting and 38 minutes. Aaron Gordon, good game, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists on 7 for 12 shooting. Tyson Ross off the bench, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in 29 minutes. The Hornets defeated the Heat 113-112. So Charlotte survives. They're 2-1. Miami's 1-2. Charlotte had a big lead. Miami came back and made it interesting. Kemba Walker's off to a fantastic start this season. 39 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists on 14 of 31 shooting in 40 minutes. So he's off to a great start in a contract year. Malik Monk off the bench, 15 points on 5 for 11 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3 in 25 minutes. Goran Dragic, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists in defeat in 39 minutes. Dwayne Wade off the bench, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 9 for 15 shooting in 25 minutes. The Celtics defeated the Knicks 103-101. The Celtics are 2-1. New York's 1-2. This was an entertaining game. Yet again, the Knicks are hanging around. And they deserve a ton of credit because, let's face it, the Celtics are in another class than the Nets. And it's certainly another class from the Hawks. And yet again, they're hanging around with these teams. And this is the one they deserve the most credit for. The Celtics are by far better than those two other teams. The Celtics are the second best team in the NBA. And they deserve credit for hanging around with their rivals. The sad news for the Knicks in this game is that Kevin Knox hurt his ankle in this game and he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. And that is a big step back for the Knicks in terms of their young development. If they get Knox back in 2 weeks, I think it's a major, major win for them. Meanwhile, Jason Tatum continues to be awesome. 24 points, 14 rebounds, no assists though. 35 minutes, 8 for 15 shooting. Kyrie Irving, 16 points on 5 for 16 shooting. And 5 assists, 32 minutes. Marcus Morris off the bench, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 for 12 shooting in 26 minutes. Tim Hardaway Jr. kept the Knicks in that game. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. 8 for 21 shooting, but 5 for 11 from 3, 37 minutes. Enes Kanter, his third double-double in a row, 17 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 for 15 shooting in 31 minutes. He fouled out of that game. Alonzo Trier off the bench, 15 points, a rebound and an assist, 4 for 9 shooting in 25 minutes. The Pistons defeated the Bulls 118-116. This was a crazy ending to this game as the Pistons survived. They're 2-0. Chicago's 0-2. Blake Griffin, 33 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists on 12 for 23 shooting in 35 minutes. 5 3-pointers, by the way. Every starter in double digits for the Pistons. 16 points for Reggie Bullock on 5 for 13 shooting. 10 points for Stanley Johnson and Andre Drummond each. Drummond also added 13 boards. Reggie Jackson, 18 points and 6 assists. 4 for 9 shooting, 4 for 7 from 3. Ish Smith, 15 points off the bench. 5 assists and 3 rebounds. 6 for 11 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3. On the other side, Zach LaVine, big game, 33 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 12 for 21 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 37 minutes. Campaign, 17 minutes, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 for 12 shooting in 28 minutes. Justin Holiday, 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, 6 for 8 shooting, 38 minutes. Jabari Parker off the bench, 13 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist, 5 for 13 shooting in 24 minutes. The Nuggets defeated the Suns 119-91. Good win for the Nuggets, taking care of business. They're 2-0. Phoenix is 1-1. Nikola Jokic with the perfect triple-double. 35 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists on 11 for 11 shooting. And 3 for 3 from 3 in 31 minutes. That's just A+ stuff right there. Jamal Murray, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 for 18 shooting in 37 minutes. Gary Harris, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 for 15 shooting, 35 minutes. Devin Booker, 25 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 36 minutes, 5 for 15 shooting. Isaiah Cannon started at point guard for the Suns, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 8 shooting in 30 minutes. A little bit of a regression game for DeAndre Ayton. In 23 minutes, he shot 2 for 7 with 5 points and 8 rebounds and 1 assist. Had 5 fouls, too. The Blazers defeated the Spurs 121-108. Blazers are 2-0. The Spurs are 1-1. Dame Lillard, 29 points, 2 rebounds, 9 assists on 9 for 15 shooting, 30 minutes. CJ McCollum, 24 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 9 for 15 shooting in 30 minutes. So he and Lillard had similar stat lines. Zach Collins off the bench, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 for 5 shooting in 15 minutes. DeMar DeRozan, big game, 28 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 11 for 22 shooting in 34 minutes. Bryn Forbes, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 for 13 shooting in 27 minutes. Aldridge and Gray had 12 points each. Aldridge, 37 minutes. Gay, 27 minutes. Jakob Bertel didn't do anything. And last but not least, in what was the most anticipated game of the night, the Rockets defeated the Lakers 124-115. Good bounce back win for Houston after the ugly opener loss to the Pelicans. They're 1-1. The Lakers are 0-2. James Harden, 36 points. He was the best player on the court with 7 rebounds and 5 assists. 10 for 19 shooting. 5 for 10 from 3. Chris Paul had a big game before being ejected. I'll get into that in a minute. 28 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. 9 for 17 shooting in 30 minutes. Clint Capella had a nice game, a double-double, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 9 for 16 shooting in 34 minutes. LeBron James, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 9 for 22 shooting in 39 minutes. Brandon Ingram, 12 points, 4 rebounds on 5 for 8 shooting in 25 minutes. JaVale McGee, 16 points, 7 for 11 shooting in 20 minutes. Rajon Rondo, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 6 for 8 shooting in 30 minutes. Lonzo Ball off the bench, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 for 8 from 3, 5 for 10 shooting in 26 minutes. This was an entertaining game. There was a big brawl in this game. There was one of those ridiculous foul calls on James Harden that the foul was called on Brandon Ingram. Ingram was frustrated. Then he shoves Harden. Then Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul get into a shoving match. Ingram, Paul, and Rondo all ejected. Yet again, we have another game where Mike Breen is calling, where there's a brawl. He's had some memorable ones. This will go down as a memorable one involving the Lakers and the Rockets and LeBron James and Chris Paul. Carmelo Anthony was barking in that brawl a little bit too. Breen also called the Malice in the Palace in 2004. He also had that game where Jeff Van Gundy was hanging on Alonzo Mourning's leg. I believe that was in 1997. And then he had that brawl at the Garden between when, ironically, Carmelo Anthony was on the Nuggets against the Knicks. So that's 4 brawls I can think of on the top of my head that Mike Breen has called, including tonight. Hockey. Actually, no, I'm going to look ahead to today's NBA games. There's only 4. 6 o'clock, Hawks, Cavs, each team at 0-2. I expect the Cavs to get their first win of the year. Kings and Thunder at 7 o'clock, both teams 0-2. The Thunder will probably win that game with Russell Westbrook set to return. 8 o'clock, this is probably the best game on the board. The Warriors and the Nuggets, each team at 2-0. And then you have the Rockets and the Clippers, 9 o'clock on NBA TV. Each team at 1-1. Chris Paul probably won't play. The suspension will probably be handed down at some point today during these football games. So, expect the Clippers to go to 2-1. Now I'm going to get the hockey. The Flyers defeated the Devils 5-2. The Flyers 4-4. The Devils are 4-2. So 2 straight losses after starting 4-0 for New Jersey. Jacob Voracek's number 1 star of the game with a goal and 2 assists. Number 2 star of the game was the number 2 overall pick in the draft last year with the goal. That's Nolan Patrick. Number 3 star of the game with the goal, Brian Boyle. The Avs defeated the Hurricanes 3-1. Good win for Colorado as they improved to 5-1-2. Carolina's 4-3-1. The number 1 star of the game with 42 saves on 43 shots, Philip Garbauer, the backup goalie. Number 2 star of the game with 2 goals, Gabriel Landeskog. And the number 3 star of the game with a goal, Michael Furlan. The Sabres defeated the Kings 5-1. Impressive win for Buffalo as they improved to 4-4. Kings are 2-5-1. Number 1 star of the game with a goal and 2 assists, Jason Pominville. Number 2 star of the game with 3 goals, Jeff Skinner. Number 3 star of the game with 3 assists, Jack Eichel. The Jets defeated the Coyotes 5-3 as They improved to 5-2-1. Arizona drops to 2-5. Number 1 star of the game with a goal and an assist, Josh Morrissey. Number 2 star of the game with 3 assists, Jacob Trouba. Number 3 star of the game with 2 goals, Clayton Keller. The Blues defeat the Maple Leafs 4-1. Impressive win for St. Louis to get in the win column. They are 2-3-2. Toronto is 6-3. Number 1 star of the game with 22 saves on 23 shots, Jake Allen. Number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, David Perron. Number 3 star of the game with a goal and assist, Ryan O'Reilly. The Senators defeat the Canadiens 4-3 in overtime. The Sens are 4-2-1. The Canadiens are 4-1-2. The number 1 star of the game with 2 goals and assists, Mark Stone. The number 2 star of the game with a goal and assist, Matt Duchene. Number 3 star of the game with a goal and assist, Paul Byron. The Red Wings defeat the Panthers 4-3 in overtime to get their first win of the season, as they're 1-5-2. The Panthers are 1-2-3. Number 1 star of the game with a goal and assist, Gustav Nyquist. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and an assist, Dennis Cholowski. And the number 3 star of the game with a goal and an assist, Nick Bustad. The Blackhawks defeated the Blue Jackets 4-1. Impressive win for Joe Quenneville's squad, as they are 4-1-2. The Jackets are 4-3. Number 1 star of the game with 37 saves on 38 shots, Corey Crawford. So good bounce back game in his second game back. Number 2 star of the game with 2 goals and an assist, Showtime, Patrick Kane. Number 3 star of the game, Zach Werenski with a goal. The Wild defeated the Lightning 5-4 in overtime. Impressive win for the Minnesota Wild, 4-2-2. The Lightning are 4-1-1. Number 1 star of the game with a goal, Mikael Granlund. He scored the game winner. Number 2 star of the game with the goal, Zach Parise. And number 3 star of the game with the goal, Marcus Foligno. The Predators defeat the Oilers 3-0. Impressive win for Nashville, as they're 7-1. Edmonton's 3-3. Number 1 star of the game with 31 saves on 31 shots, UC Saros. Number 2 star of the game with the goal, PK Subban. And number 3 star, didn't have a point, Kaylor Yamamoto. The Canucks defeated the Bruins 2-1 in overtime. Impressive win for Vancouver. They're 5-3. Boston's 4-2-2. Number 1 star of the game, 30 saves on 31 shots, Jacob Markstrom. He's been great this year. Number 2 star of the game, didn't have a point, Patrice Bergeron. He just had a nice game. Number 3 star of the game with a goal, he scored the overtime goal, Bo Horvat. The Golden Knights defeated the Ducks 3-1. Vegas is 4-4. Anaheim's 5-2. So Vegas rebounds after the slow start. Number 1 star of the game with a goal, Ryan Reeves. Number 2 star of the game with a goal, William Karlsson. And the number 3 star of the game didn't have a point. He just played a good all-around game, William Carrier. The Sharks defeated the Islanders 4-1. The Sharks are 4-3 once they start to turn the rebound after their low start. Islanders are 3-4. Number 1 star of the game, Thomas Hertl. He had 3 assists. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and assist, Logan Couture. And the number 3 star of the game with an assist, Antti Salema. Only 3 games on the board tonight. You have the Flames at the Rangers at 7 o'clock. The Lightning and the Blackhawks, that's going to be a good game from Chicago. And the Sabres and the Ducks at 8 o'clock. So, 3 nice ones. We have a Flames team that people think are improved, and the rebuilding Rangers, who have hung around games with contenders throughout the start of the season. You have the Lightning and the Blackhawks. Same with the Blackhawks. They've been knocking off contenders. And the Sabres and the Ducks. And the Sabres have been a little Jekyll and Hyde. Will they pull off their second straight win? We'll see about that. Before I go, game day next week is going to Jacksonville between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida Gators. That was the correct choice by them. They haven't gone to Jacksonville since 2005. And both of those teams are contenders this year. Florida's been sneaky good. They just had the 1 loss to Kentucky. And now it's in the second week of the season. Ever since then, They've been pretty darn good. They knocked off LSU. That's the only loss LSU has this year. So give Dan Mullen credit. He's done a fantastic job this year so far. And last but not least, my predictions for how the rankings are going to play out. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, Notre Dame. Number 4, LSU. Number 5, Michigan. Number 6, Texas. Number 7, Georgia. Number 8, Oklahoma. 9, Ohio State. 10, UCF. 11, Florida. 12, West Virginia. 13, Oregon. 14, Kentucky. 15, Washington. 16, Texas A&M. 17, Penn State. 18, Iowa. 19, NC State. 20, South Florida. 21, Washington State. 22, Wisconsin. 23, Stanford. 24, San Diego State. Although I'm probably regretting that one a little bit. 25, Cincinnati. All right, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all the football. We'll be doing my college football power rankings and guess the lines. NBA, NHL. We'll talk about whatever suspensions comes out of the Lakers-Rockets brawl and anything else that happens in the world of sports. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.